So guys, so listen up here. I'll give you guys a speech here, and this is a bit of a varied speech that I gave my Mythic Guild. And now some context. The group was not performing as well as they could be. This has been a guild that's been around since January 2005, January 27, 2005. Like, we've been around for a long time, killing all the bosses, and people were not pulling their weight. So I'll give you a slight variation of the speech I gave, and this was when my mic was muted, to my guild, and so you guys saw my hand motions, and you guys heard Tally listening to it and getting all pumped up. Now, so that's the context behind it, and I'll give you a quick speech of what happened, so you guys can listen after this one. So, talking to my guild here, talking to you guys as if you were my guild. Now, Sparty's been really angry, really cranky, so that's the context of it. So number one, I want you guys I'm going to ask you a couple questions here. I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I want you to answer them in your head and reflect on them. We can chat about these questions afterwards. Now, question 1. I want you to speak up and tell me honestly if you think you've put in the full effort that is required of being a raider in this guild for this tier. Okay? Do you think you've put in the entire effort of what is to be expected, of what Sparty expects of you as a raider, of what Death Jesters expects of you? Think about that. Number 2. This tier, do you believe you've been performing at a high level that is required of a top US 50 guild? Prep aside, performance. Do you think you've been performing at that level? Question number 3. Why do you think Sparty has been crankier than normal on farm content? Is it because I'm tired of Warcraft? Because I'm stressed from work, wedding, whatever? Or is it because that I don't believe people are putting in the full effort that is required of them? Think about those 3 things. Think about them. Half-ass preparation is not going to cut it. Half-ass effort is not going to cut it. Entitlement, because you've been here for a long-ass time or 10 years, is not going to cut it. If a raider comes back from hiatus, like Loganis, they're expected to earn their spot back. There is none of this, I was here for however many years, I was an officer, I'm coming back. No, you earn your spot back. You've been replaced. If you're a good player and you want to maintain that respect from leadership, it is a constant effort. It is not an entitled, you've earned your spot forever. Constant effort. It's not, I've been here for 4 years, respect me. Underperformance does not gain respect. The ones that do gain respect are the ones that work hard and the ones that put in the effort. Those people, they know exactly who they are, and they gain nothing but praise from me. These are the people that are consistently performing at a high level, and they're consistently putting in that constant effort into their characters, in the guild, and in the encounters. These players are a model of the guild, and these players are something that each and one of you should strive to be like. Now, I may say something that might get you all worked up, might get you a little bit butthurt. Raid leaders are there to criticize, to lead and make corrections. Do not take things personally. If I call you out on something, it's not because I hate you, I don't like you. No, I'm here to get the job done, to solve the puzzle that is that raid. We make those corrections. Don't take things personally. You are not a bad player because you got called out. You just made a mistake, and everybody's human. One of the things about communication is that if you're all discussing, things with each other and making presumptions about what's going on, things might not work out well. Now, there isn't a time that you can't come to me to ask a question or question a direction. There's no, you can do it anytime you want. I don't care. Question what I've done, question the choice I've made, totally fine. You will not be reprimanded or kicked out of the guild for making those things. All I ask is that you give me the respect in doing so. You'll gain more positive response from me. However, that's fantastic. Here we go with a 12-year-old. Fantastic. There. If you have issues with something, you bring it up to an officer, whoever you're chatting with. If you're a member, talk to somebody else. Like, bring up your issues. It's totally okay. When we raid, we communicate effectively. Don't talk over the raid leaders. You know, if you have something to contribute, do it between polls. Do it after the raid. Do it whatever. Your job as raiders is to execute. If you have suggestions, give them. We want your suggestions. You guys are the brain trust. It's not just myself or Bran or Juriaz leading. It's you guys. We're a team. If you have fight questions, fight-specific questions, ask them beforehand. Please ask them beforehand. Please do. Now, there's good questions and there's bad questions. If you ask me on Tectus, and you're a mage, what spec you should be as a mythic raider, I'm going to get very annoyed. I'm going to slap you upside the head because you failed that very basic preparation of a mythic raid leader. Like, you didn't look at logs. You did jack shit for mythic Tectus. And I'm going to fly off the handle. I will get friggin' frustrated with you because you're wasting everybody's time because you couldn't be bothered to do the very little prep as a mage. If you ask me, when do I mass Dispel on Mythic Hellfire Council? I will facepalm and then backhand your face, because that is dumb. You should know what Dispelling does on that encounter. That is simple raider prep. Here's examples of good questions to ask me. If you ask what the soften rage time is on our burn strat on Gurtog, that's a good question, because again, it's mythic specific, you know what strat we're doing, you know, that's a good question. You know, what time, when should you use your cooldowns best, you know, to time your own DPS cooldowns? What rune are you assigned to soak on Cromrock? That's a good question. Very good question, right? Here's an example of a good suggestion. We have too much DPS. Fel Lord Zakun's cooldowns were set during heroism time at 30%. Should we stop DPS or should we wait for Fishers to spawn and then push him? What do you want us to do? That's a great raid clarification question. Here's another great question. Since we don't want to get a Death Caller during Archimonde's sub 40% phase, going into his third phase there, do you want us to stop DPS and wait for the Death Caller, or do you want us to push it anyway? Right? That is a good question. Another great suggestion here. Sparty, we're losing too much DPS by using this giant moving purple strat on Cromrock. You want to just keep the boss positioned? Would that make it more efficient? Those are good suggestions. Right, and finally another good one here on again, it's mythic style. Given that Fel Rage, you know, you guys remember this ability here on High Council. Fel Rage gives you 200% more damage, 100% more healing, and 35% more leech. As a healer, do you want me DPSing or do you want me healing? What do you want me to do? Those are good questions. Bad questions, good questions. You know, ask good questions to your raid leaders. Do basic prep. Don't waste everybody's time. Now, appropriate communication is key. If you feel that Sparty yells too much, or Sparty rages too much, we can chat about that. That's totally fine. If you think there's too much stick and not enough carrot, we can chat about that too. You know, in an ideal world, you know, the veteran raiders, the members, should not have to be told, you know, how great they did. You guys know how great you did. You guys are fucking awesome. That being said, though, I need to make more of a consistent effort to give you guys more pats on the back. When we kill a boss, likely everybody performed well. So what do I do then? Do I praise each and every one of you individually? Hey, you know, so-and-so, good healing. Hey, Clipper, you finally, you know, DPS'd. Hey, you know, Schomburg, great job getting world first again, rank. Right? Like, how do you praise? Again, there's only so much raid time in a raid to praise everybody. So we have to, you know, give it where it's appropriate. You know, either as a group, we did a great job, or we need to, you know, get our asses in gear. Right? It's not an excuse for not giving enough people enough praise, but that's just reality. You know, we tell you did a good job, and we move on to the next boss. That's it. In truth, though, as raid leaders, and this is back to Coach's Corner, appreciate every one of your effing raiders, every single one. You have a good group of players wherever you are, whether you're a normal group, a casual group, or a really hardcore group. And as raiders, ultimately remember that you are being appreciated. Raid leaders need to say it more often. but that's just the reality of, the game. Whether, you're one of my raiders here, for example, Ariana's awesome research, Brumanfu's awesome log analysis, Deadman's, threads for each boss, good strat discussion, Loganis is Hunter Jesus in our group, Primetime's the best friggin' disc clicker, shielder I've seen in years. Now, as for the apps in my guild, this is the toughest part of your career. And if you are in a guild, or you're applying to a guild, that is a tough, stressful part. And it's tough because steel sharpens steel. And if you get through this, you've shown us a lot. We appreciate the apps. And I know I joke a lot about, apps, being worthless, and apps, have to earn everything. But apps are a vital part of any kind of guild and a raid. We appreciate the apps too. We know it's tough, and we respect anybody that gives us 100% effort to make it. Whether you make it or not, you still get our respect. So think about what I've said here. Think about what I've said. Clear eyes, full hearts. Nobody play football? Clear eyes, full hearts. That's right, can't lose. Now let's go kill some bosses. There you go. And that was the speech that I gave my raiders. Right, that was the rough speech that I gave my raiders there. A little truncated for a lot of you guys. So, there you go. That was my mythic speech, and after that we killed Hellfire Council in a record number of attempts. I think we had 10 attempts total on Hellfire Council, killed Gorefiend, Killrod shortly after, and we got it done.